Hey, it's Cody, and I am back with a video talking about and showing some of my decks that I believe to be fairy tale decks. So, we'll just get cracking. I have, what, 9, 10, 6, 7, 8, 9, yep, 10. Alright, so the first deck that I want to show is the Compendium of Witches Oracle. I recently got this one. I don't know if you saw my video similar to this, which was my fantasy decks, which has kind of been, these videos have been like a style of video, I guess, that I've kind of been thinking about doing for a while, and then wow, ended up getting this Compendium of Witches, and also the Citadel Oracle, which is first on my fantasy deck list. So, yeah, that's what made me finally just go ahead and make these. So, I don't really know what... Okay, I just feel in my heart if a deck is, like, fantasy or fairy tale. I know that there are, like, real differences. Oh, what have I done? But for me, I just go by feel. So this feels... Okay, we have some of these cards. I'm not the biggest fan of all these, like, white background ones. Some of them are, I mean, they're beautiful, but there are definitely ones that are better. Like these. These, I mean, even these are items that I feel like are very fairy tale-esque. And, like, these are characters that you would meet in your little fairy tales. I mean, even a staff, right? A bee. And I'm just really into... Right now I'm having a thing with decks that I feel like I could, like, tell a story about the cards. Or if it makes me think of a book, a show, a movie, a video game... I'm into it, right? There's one in here that really makes me think of, Emily Wilde's, Encyclopedia of Fairies or something like that. There's like an explorer kind of lady. Shit, man, I gotta find her. But this, I mean, I guess this could have been in the fantasy, like, you're gonna find that really, my rhyme or reason to saying which deck I decided was fantasy and which was fairy tale is just... I got some loose parameters for what made me decide. I don't even know what they were, just what I felt like. Alright, let's straighten these out. I love this. Wait, I just saw this. This is one. Here's Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. If you haven't read that, you probably should. This, yeah, this deck, like, makes me want to go read a book. Like, and I'm into that right now, okay? And just, I'm having a good time over here with cards, and that's what I'm doing. Sometimes in the heat of summer, like, it's sort of the end of July, and I just... really, like, working too heavily is difficult for me during this time. I don't really know why. Here is The Forest Fey by Nadia Turner. So, yeah, I tend to, like, I still get out my cards and stuff. I just don't always do, like, real readings with them. So, this deck is small. It's adorable. Yeah, a lot of times this type, like, size of deck with this little bitty magnetic box are just like affirmation decks. I think this is the only one that is actually, like, illustrated, and this feels very fairy tale to me. I don't know, man, like, it makes me feel like a little kid, and I want to just go wander in the forest and, like, find these. They're so cute. So, to me, this is fairy tale, right? Like, this maybe is a little bit creepy. I mean, not to me, but, like, I feel like fairy tales, for the most part, have something, are sort of aimed at children, even if sometimes they're terrible. Unless we're talking, like, dark fairy tale shit, which I don't really know if a gritty retelling of a fairy tale necessarily makes it still be a fairy tale. I don't know. Okay, I'm getting a little off topic here, but wondering about genres of things. You guys are probably going to be mad. You're probably going to be like, why would you put that in fairy tale? That was definitely fantasy, or it was like, you know, something else. I don't give a fuck, okay? Just... Alright, this is... Get it out here. The Midnight Magic Mushroom Tarot. Of course, a deck about mushrooms was going to show up in a fairy tale deck video. Like, if someone has this deck and was making this video and didn't put this deck in it, I would be very suspicious of that person. It's not necessarily like a kitty kind of fairy tale deck. But, I mean, you can't deny the bizarreness of mushrooms and their ties to fairies, right? This deck is so well done. It's so well put together. I honestly don't really know that much about mushrooms. Like, no. You know what? I'll be completely honest. I don't know shit about them. But all of these are different specific types of mushrooms that the deck creator picked because of certain things about the way that, like, the mushroom functions. And that's so fucking cool. Like, I don't think I know that much about anything. Like, I know 3 things about a bunch of shit, but, like, I could never sit down and, like, make a deck like this in which I just knew that much about something. Like, that's just... In case you've ever wondered, I could not do that. This was, I colored the edges of this with the Sharpie. It did not come like that. Alright, so now we're into the tarot decks. Oh, the last one was too. What the hell am I talking about? This is the Forest of Enchantment Tarot. I colored the edges. As you can see, it bled. This is a very obvious choice for a fairy tale deck, but, like, I feel like I couldn't make a video about fairy tale decks without this. Obviously, we've got judging animals, a badger in his home by a fire. This whole deck just punches you in the face with fairy tale imagery, and I love that. I love that about it. Yeah, it's just, I don't want to spend too long on this one. I feel like you have probably seen this one ad nauseum. You probably don't want to keep seeing it. This is my favorite card in the deck. This is the renamed High Priestess, the Wise Woman. So all of the decks that I've shown so far are mass market. I have 2 decks on this list that are indie. Oh my god. Alright, next up is a actual fairy tale-esque kind of deck. This, you probably won't be surprised to see, is the Arthur Rackham Tarot. I believe it's by Lo Scarabeo, but mass market. And these images were literally taken from his illustrations for fairy tales, like books that had his artwork in it. So there's no escaping the fairy tale vibes of this. Got witches. Whatever terrible thing is happening here. This is wonderful and I love it. Princess and the Pea vibes, maybe, I don't know. But there's this, like, when I think of this deck, this is specifically the card that I imagine. So this one's very, like, Mother Goose type of shit. But I don't dislike it for that, you know? I think that's fantastic. I will admit I don't use this deck that often, but sometimes I just get like this weird feeling comes over me, and I absolutely must. I don't like that they made the backs and a card the same. Like, anyway. I just must have like this feeling. It's usually in the winter. This is a wintry deck for me. But yeah, bursting with fairy tale shit here. I love this card too. But there's like, I feel like there's an equal amount of cards that I love in this and that I absolutely hate. Like, it's not, it's not like most of them are okay and I just like some or hate some. It's like 50-50. I have strong feelings about pretty much every image in this deck. Alright, next, I don't think you'll be surprised to see. Sorry about all these damn bags I made. Yeah. This is the Tarot of a Witch's Garden, which is, oh, is it in order? No, it's not. This is a pretty new release. I believe I did a walkthrough of it maybe a month ago. Absolutely fairy tale shit. Something about this deck. Okay, I feel like Llewellyn, this is a Llewellyn deck, has come out with quite a few decks lately that I feel interested in, and I end up getting them, but something about them feels like oversaturated with the color. Like this blue, I don't like when things are like that blue. I don't know, I just don't like it. And it makes me like kind of not want to use it, because I feel like I'm cringing away from like the colors. Does that make sense? I don't know. That probably sounds bizarre and also ridiculous. But this is one of those decks. I got, what's the other ones? There was a Tarot of Dragons or something that they came out with, I think the end of last year, 2022. That was just, the colors were just so much. I rehomed that deck. I also, what the hell is that? That was a piece of a leaf. I did not read outside of this, so I don't know how the hell that happened. There was also, Tarot of Owls or some shit like that. I was like, hell yeah, I love owls. But like, the energy of the deck with the colors, to me, felt distinctly not owly. Like, there were lime green owls and shit. And the worst thing is, I did watch walkthroughs of these. I was like, hell yeah, I need to have that deck. But ultimately, once I have it, I'm like, oh my god, like, I don't know when I would want to see this fucking riot of color. And they've all been by Llewellyn. There's a couple other ones. One of them I think I just watched a walkthrough and I was like, I've got to get a grip on this, because I definitely, that's not what I'm going to use. And, you know, as beautiful as some of the images are in this deck, I'm not positive how often I'm going to use this. I'll be completely honest. I had it, and I've even gotten it out to do readings with, and then I'm like, actually, no thanks. I think I will use something else. Anyway, that was a lot of talking about this deck. Anyway, fairy tale vibes. I don't like bright colors. I don't know why. It feels like the lights are too bright, or like I need to back up from it or something. I don't know, man. Okay, alright. So, now let's cleanse our palettes with Terror of the Abyss. Damn, people are driving by in there loud as fuck. This one is the opposite. This one is just black and white. I was very careful. I've known that I wanted this deck for a long time. I was very careful to not, like, get too many just black and white decks. I feel like eventually they'd all start looking the same. So I've actually avoided black and white decks just so that this could be, like, special and the only one, you know? So, yeah. I don't know why I'm telling you that, but that is a thing that I have done, so. I love this deck. I don't have... the same creator made an independent deck, like Bone Stone and Earth Flash or something like that. It was independent only, I think. I did not get that one, and the reason is because it was fucking brightly colored. So, I love this, the, like, fucking pen ink sort of drawings, just the fairy tale sort of weirdness, coming out of it. I don't know what this strikes like a different feeling in me, I think, than most of the other decks that I've shown in this fairy tale thing video. But I don't think that makes it any less fairy tale like. I mean, I guess this could have gone in my fantasy things video too. Like, what the fuck? But it's something about this strikes me as more fairy tale. And I fucking love this deck. This is a very, like, earthy, swordsy kind of deck to me for some reason. This deck actually comes with, options, 2 different options for the 3 of Swords and the 10 of Swords. Instead of picking, I just left them both in there, so this deck definitely, will skew negative. It's got extra bad cards in it, that sort of have a different spin on them. I'm not going to talk about all that right now, but I really like this. This deck is so well put together. I love it. The black and whiteness, I have saved myself for this deck, so I don't have any other black and white ones. Okay, so I don't think you're going to be surprised to see the last 2 decks on my list. These are the only independent decks that I have on here, and these are, this is Smoke, Ash, and Embers. Yeah. I'll put a link, to where you can get this deck, down in the description box. This strikes me as fairy tale. I went back and forth on which video, if I wanted this to go in the fantasy, deck pile for the video, or if this one should go into fairy tale. And this, ultimately, I feel like for the most part I would probably classify a dragon as more fantasy than fairy tale. But the way these are done, they're very cute. Very few of them seem vicious. This deck, just the artwork and the way it goes, seems to just be positive. And this feels like, you know, a fairy tale sort of energy rather than fantasy. You know, fantasies, they'd be like flying and fighting, and like there would kind of be more of this. Like, you might think, oh, okay, this one seems a lot more fantasy, but it's ultimately just chasing a butterfly, so that just brought it back to fairy tale for me. I don't know. So, definitely the cup suit is my least favorite. Those are too cutesy, and I don't like them. I like this. He's looking very stately. He's the King of Pentacles. He's got, I don't know, man. Alright. Me in this deck. We'll just get out the next one. I'm pretty sure you already know what it's gonna be. It is the Oak, Ash, and Thorn. When the Smoke, Ash, and Embers, a dragon one, came out, I excitedly ordered it, and there was like a bundle you could get, Oak, Ash, and Thorn, and Smoke, Ash, and Ember, together. I was so fucking excited. I just knew that I was gonna love these decks, and somehow I just fucking don't. Like, it's not that I love the artwork. Something about it does not strike anything in my intuition. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know, man. This feels, oh, this is my favorite card in here, like an art deck, maybe, but not necessarily suited to my style of reading. It's, I don't want to keep using the word cutesy, because I use that for, the Smoke, Ash, and Embers, but it really does have that feel to it, that I'm not the biggest fan of. Like, okay, I don't mind that, but like, I don't know, man, what are some that I'm not really into? Like this, maybe. I like the swords, but something about me and these decks don't mesh. I'm not gonna like rehome them or anything. I'm just going to keep them forever and beat myself up because I can't get along with these decks. I feel like if I were to get rid of these, that I would end up just wanting to get them back, and like I'm not in like a financial situation where I could just like buy back 2 $60 decks. Like, that's not how it works over here. So this was a special thing that I was able to do, and I will just wallow in my disappointment for the rest of my life. So anyway, Mad Fairy Tale vibes, obviously. In this deck, you know, okay, I just realized, maybe it's the humanization of animals that look pretty, like, correct. Like, does that make sense? If these were specifically cartoony looking animals doing, like, people things, I feel like it might not feel as weird to me. But this one, like, the animals look realistic, but they're just not doing realistic animal things. I don't know. You know what? Delete that from your memory. Pretend I didn't say it. Like, I don't know, man. If this was just a wolf sitting here, and, like, it just weirdly had a sword behind it, but I feel like that would be, oh, yes, justice. But the fact that it has a crown, maybe, it feels like there's just some sort of, like, dissonance? I don't know. Anyway, I didn't mean to end this video on the sad note of my failures, but yeah, this was not necessarily a list of all of my fantasy, fairy tale feeling decks. It certainly wasn't, you know, all of them out there by any means. These are just the ones that I felt like talking about a little bit. So, fuck, I just did that. If you enjoyed this video, good. Thanks for watching. Bye.